We know by now that hormones play a huge role in so many things within our body. They can play a role when it comes down to our mood, they can play a role when it comes down to our body composition, our hunger, and a number of other things. We also know now that the keto diet plays a big role in modulating hormones. So this means that if we're having any shift or change in hormones, that the ketogenic diet might just be a great way to help level that out a little bit. I'm Thomas DeLauer with Keto Mojo, and today we're going to specifically talk about menopause and the effect that the ketogenic diet has on the hormone shifts within the menopause cycle. So simply put, menopause is a shift in hormones. Okay, it's a shift in estrogen, where estrogen is reduced, and it's an increase in follicle stimulating hormone and a modulation of the luteinizing hormone as well. In essence, what that means is follicle stimulating hormone normally triggers the ovaries to start producing an egg, and the luteinizing hormone therefore allows the ovaries to release that egg. So as a female ages, these hormones obviously change. Because there's less of a production of an egg, these hormones shift to balance out, which means that estrogen levels fall and follicle stimulating hormone ends up increasing. Now, follicle stimulating hormone increases because it's seeing this decline in estrogen and progesterone, and it's trying to ramp up production. So follicle stimulating hormone ramps up to try to release more of the eggs and try to release more estrogen, but it just can't because biologically the body has changed. So as a result of this, we start to see some changes in insulin. And believe it or not, when it comes down to menopause and menopause symptoms, a lot of it actually has to do with insulin. See, lower levels of insulin cause a specific type of insulin resistance, which means that the cells are no longer able to really see carbs and insulin the same way that they used to. For example, when someone eats sugar, their body is going to release insulin so that that sugar can get into the cell. If you have insulin resistance, that sugar can't get into the cell very well. So as a result, blood sugar remains high. When blood sugar remains high, the body still tries to ramp up more insulin to try to solve the issue. So you end up with chronically high blood sugar and chronically high insulin levels. This is known as hyperinsulinemia. So for a woman during menopause or postmenopause, a lot of times you will have this big increase in insulin, which leads to a bunch of other things. So a lot of times the issues with hormone fluctuation, the issues with hunger, the issues with hot flashes, those are a lot of times a result of insulin issues. Now, there's one study in particular. It took a look at women with PCOS. Now, I know PCOS is obviously not the same as menopause, but it has a lot of the same hormones at play. So let's take a look at what this study said. So this study was published in the journal Nutrition and Metabolism. It took a look at 11 women with PCOS, and what they did in this particular study is they had these women go on a very low carb ketogenic diet, less than 20 grams of carbs. And what they found from the women that completed the study was that there are some pretty remarkable results. Okay, there was a 12% reduction in body weight, which was great, but there was also a 22% reduction in testosterone. You see, when estrogen levels fall, testosterone can get higher, and we don't really want that high androgenic or testosterone activity in a woman. It's just not the best thing. It can throw off other hormones. Okay, now additionally, there was a balance of luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Those super high follicle stimulating hormone levels, they came back down a little bit. Luteinizing hormones balanced out as well. But where things get really interesting is they found there's a 54% reduction in insulin. Okay, so that hyperinsulinemia issue starting to go away. That's a huge reduction in insulin. So this study started to find that a lot of the symptoms and a lot of the issues that happen hormonally with women as they age, or if they're going through an issue with PCOS, can directly be a result of high levels of insulin. So let's go ahead and let's break it down a little bit further. When you look at women that are going through menopause or are postmenopause, they also have a higher level of what is called ghrelin. See, ghrelin is the hunger hormone. Ghrelin is what signals us to be hungry. So when a woman has gone through menopause and she has a higher level of ghrelin, there's a good instance that she's going to have more of an appetite. Therefore, that can lead to weight gain. So what's interesting is that the ketogenic diet has been shown to suppress ghrelin levels. The European Journal of Clinical Nutrition published a study that took a look at 39 overweight individuals. And they found that once the body was producing ketones, the presence of those ketone bodies suppressed ghrelin levels dramatically. So we can combat, sort of in an indirect way, the ghrelin level increase that would occur post-menopause. But then we can take it a step further too. You see, insulin is also fairly inflammatory. So when we look at brain inflammation, we look at things like that, we can connect the dots. Lower levels of insulin could mean lower levels of inflammation. But additionally, beta-hydroxybutyrate, which is the primary ketone body and the ketone body that you'd be measuring with the Keto Mojo meter, is going to help modulate inflammation specifically within the brain. So you hear a lot of women that are post-menopause that note that they have brain fog, or they end up with mood swings, or sometimes hot flashes. A lot of times this is a result not just of the hormones, but of actual brain inflammation that's occurring simply because of the hyperinsulinemia. So again, if we can combat this in an indirect way with the ketogenic diet, we could be in a very, very great place to help make the quality of life a bit better for those that are suffering with some of these symptoms. Now, when it comes down to ensuring that you're in ketosis, you want to be measuring. You want to use a blood meter so you can truly and accurately note if you are in that ketogenic state where you're actually reaping the benefits. And that's where the Keto Mojo meter comes into play. The Keto Mojo meter allows you to test your blood ketones at an affordable price, so you can always know that you're on the right track. As always, make sure you're keeping it locked in here with Keto Mojo and leave the guesswork out of the equation. Leave that measuring to the actual meter. I'll see you in the next video.